think the system is much safer and much sounder. As I mentioned, we're doing a lot more to try to look for financial stability risks that may not be immediately apparent, but to look in corners of the financial system that are not subject to regulation outside those areas in order to try to detect threats to financial stability that may be emerging. So would I say there will never, ever be another financial crisis? You know, probably that would be going too far, but I do think we're much safer, and I hope that it will not be in our lifetimes, and I don't believe it will be.
I'll be with you in 1 second.
So I don't think it would be a good thing. Sometimes we're now about a decade after the crisis first hit, and memories do tend to fade. So I hope that that won't be the case, and I hope those of us who lived through it will remind the public that it's very important to have a safer, sounder financial system, and it is essential to sustainable growth. Now, I mean, I would say in the case of the Fed, and this is probably true in other countries as well, over this last 7 years, we have written many regulations to improve things, and some of them are very complicated. And I do think that regulators should think about the burdens that they're imposing on those who are regulated. And we hear consistently in the United States that especially for smaller banks, for community banks, now they're not subject to the same regulation that systemic firms are. But in general, that looking for ways to reduce regulatory burden, but without in any way compromising stress testing, capital, liquidity requirements that have done a lot to make the system safer.
He was coming through, and Malvika is his wife. That's Alan Evans. Okay, they're just testing my